What is the spiritual meaning of leaking ceiling dreams?
To get this, we're not starting with a dream. We're starting with a life that was absolutely shattered. We have to talk about Frida Kahlo. When she was just 18, a bus she was on collided with a streetcar. In the crash, a steel handrail impaled her. It tore straight through her hip. And just like that, the ceiling of her world cracked wide open. That ceiling was her future, the one that said, you'll be healthy, you'll be a doctor, you'll move freely. In an instant, it was gone, shattered. So for months, she's just stuck in a bed. Her mother puts a mirror on the canopy above her, so all she can do is stare at her own reflection. And so she started to paint. She painted the collapse, she painted the pain, she painted the seeping wound of a life that refused to hold its shape.
And you know, it wasn't just the one accident. Her marriage to Diego Rivera, that structure buckled and dripped with infidelity. Her own body was a ceiling that never stopped leaking, through 35 surgeries and just constant chronic pain.
But here's the crucial part. This is the whole point. She didn't try to patch the ceiling. She didn't pretend it wasn't happening. She looked right at it. She documented the leak.
Now, her story isn't just a story, it's a mirror, and it forces us to ask some really hard questions about ourselves. So I'm asking you.
First, what structure in your life is leaking right now? Your career, your relationship, your sense of who you even are. What is it?
Second, what are you refusing to look up at? What truth are you actively avoiding because you are absolutely terrified of what you're going to see?
And let's be real. Whose ceiling is it anyway? Is it yours? Or is it some flimsy structure that someone else, your parents, society, a partner, built over your head?
And finally, be honest with yourself. Are you just patching the damage, or are you actually dealing with the source? Because that dream you keep having, it's got nothing to do with home repair. It's a signal. All right, let's decode this. In the language of your dreams, the house, that's you. The ceiling, that's your conscious mind, the part you think is in control. And the water, that's your unconscious, and it is demanding to be let in.
So let me be perfectly clear. A leaking ceiling in your dream is not a minor issue. It is a psychic emergency signal. The alarms are going off. This is your true self, trying to smash through the thin ceiling of your conscious life. And this didn't just start. Oh no, it's been dripping for a while. You've just been putting buckets under the leaks and telling yourself you're handling it. You are not handling it.
This dream is so critical because you are living under a ceiling you built to keep something out. Emotions you were told not to feel, ambitions you were shamed out of, grief you buried, all that rage you swallowed day in and day out.
So you have to understand, the leak is not a punishment, it's mercy. It's your own psyche screaming at you, look up before the whole thing comes crashing down on your head.
So, you have a choice right now. Do you keep patching the damage, or do you finally dare to look up? You can patch it, you know what that looks like, you stare at the stain and deny it, you obsessively repaint and pretend the structure is sound. Or you can deal with the source. You can look up at the leak, document what you see, and use this break to become more real, more whole. So the next time you have that dream, remember this, it's not punishing you, it is trying to save your life.
Part 2. Look, if your unconscious is sending you the image of a leaking ceiling, it is not a subtle hint. It's an emergency broadcast, and it's time you started listening.
Your unconscious is incredibly precise. It doesn't do generic symbols. The location of that leak, the color of the water, how you react in the dream, it all means something incredibly specific. So let's just dive into 10 of the most common variations. I want you to find yourself in one of these. This is your diagnostic. All right, we're gonna start with the strategies we all use to manage, to control, to pretend things are fine when they are absolutely not. These are your first lines of defense, and guess what? They are beginning to crumble. So you see the drip, you know it's there, you walk right past it, you just go about your day. This isn't about denying the problem exists. You see the bucket on the floor. This is about denying its significance. It's denial as a lifestyle, stepping around the evidence of a crisis in your marriage, your career, your soul for months, maybe even for years.
Okay, here is your first move. No more stepping around it. I want you to write down the actual thing, no soft versions. Condense it into one single brutal sentence. Then go to a mirror and say it out loud. You have to confront the reality of it before you can even think about changing it.
Now, what happens if there's no drip? What if it's just a sudden, catastrophic collapse? Well, that's the shadow. Especially if you've spent your whole life being the good girl, compliant, accommodating, quiet. All that repressed energy, that rage, that life force, it doesn't just seep out. No, it detonates. This dream means your shadow has run out of patience with you.
And here's the crucial point. You have to feed the shadow before it feeds on your life. So this week, schedule it like a damn appointment. Do something that is authentically, defiantly yours. Something someone in your life probably wouldn't like. It doesn't have to be destructive, but it has to be real. Okay, so in this dream, you're up on a ladder, you've got buckets and tape, you're frantically trying to stop the water, but it just keeps coming. This is your animus, your inner masculine energy, the part of you that takes action and tries to fix things, and it's hitting an absolute wall. This is a dream about the raw, brutal limits of your control. So the practical work here is surrender. Name the situation in your life that you are pouring all your energy into controlling. Now, practice this mantra. Say it every single day until you feel it in your body, not just in your mind. I cannot stop this. I can only choose how I meet it.
Right, those crumbling defenses we just talked about, they aren't the real problem. They're just the symptoms. Now we trace the water back to its source, the old wounds and the cracking identities that are the true origin of this leak. If that leak is happening in your childhood home, the message is chillingly clear. A foundational wound from your past is active right now. It didn't stay in the past, it followed you, and it is currently shaping your relationships, your self-worth, and your ability to trust. I want you to identify a core belief you formed about yourself as a child. Something like, I am too much, or I have to be perfect to be loved. Now ask the critical question, whose voice is that? Is it your mother's? Your father's? I guarantee you it was never yours. Now find one memory, just one, from your life that proves it isn't true. Pay very close attention to the water's color. If it's black or dirty or it smells foul, you're dealing with something that has gone toxic. This is repressed grief, shame, or anger that's been buried for so long it has started to rot. This isn't just unconscious material anymore, it's festering. This situation requires an urgent intervention. That feeling has a name, it has a face, and it has a date attached to it. Your job is to find a clean container, a therapist, a journal, a circle of trusted women, and you go back. Go back to that event and dream the poison before it contaminates everything else in your life. So what if the leaking ceiling isn't even in your house? What if you dream it's in a stranger's house? That's projection. The problem is yours, 100%, but your psyche has put it in someone else's house so you can look at it from a safe distance. That stranger? That's your disowned self. It's your shadow in disguise. So here's the work, and it's hard. Who are you obsessed with right now? Who just infuriates you? Look at them, really look, and find one quality in them that secretly, painfully lives in you too, and you do not flinch from this. This recognition is the only path back to wholeness. When the leak happens at the office, it's about your persona, that public mask you wear for the world. It means this professional identity you've so carefully constructed is no longer watertight. A career crisis is brewing because the person you are at work and the person you truly are have become dangerously disconnected. Let's make this tangible. First, I want you to list 3 things your job demands that feel totally fake. Now, list 3 true things about you that your job has absolutely no place for. The space between those 2 lists, that is the size of your leak, and you have to decide which side of that gap you're going to live on. Now, this might be one of the most powerful variations. The room is flooding, you're panicking, and someone else is in the room with you, completely calm. They are not a stranger, they are you. The dream is showing you the part of your own psyche that already knows how to handle this, the part of you that is going to survive. You have to tap into that wisdom. Ask yourself, what would the unbothered woman in my dream do about my crisis today? Then sit down and write her response as a letter to you, and listen closely. Her voice isn't some fantasy. It is genuine inner knowing, reporting back from the future. And now, for our final section. We're moving beyond leaks and into the deluge. This is about when the entire structure gives way, signaling a total, and I mean total, psychic transformation. If the water fills the entire room, this is no longer a warning. This is an archetypal flood myth playing out in your mind.
It means an ego death is already in process. A fundamental part of your identity, your life, your way of being in the world is being dismantled to make way for something new. Your only job now is to stop fighting it. The flood is here. You need to ask yourself with radical honesty, what is being asked to die? A relationship? An old dream? An identity that just doesn't fit anymore? Name it, and then grieve it with ritual. You must let it end so that a new life can finally begin. And finally, there's a rare and beautiful variation. The ceiling leaks, and from that damp spot, something green begins to grow. This means the damage has become generative. The wound is now the source of new life. This is individuation in action. The break has literally become an opening. Which brings us to the final question, the one you have to take with you. The leak isn't just about what's failing. It's about what's trying to break through. So look up at the cracks in your life and ask yourself, what is my ceiling trying to open? Part 3. So, reading about your dream, it's meaningless. You have to move. The real question is, what does that even look like? Well, there are 5 distinct paths forward. You need to pick the one that fits you, and you need to do it this week. Not next month, not when things calm down, because they won't calm down, not until you begin. Okay, let's start with path 1. This is for the woman who lives in her head. You're a thinker, right? You process everything through analysis. Great. We're gonna use that strength. Here's your plan. Within 24 hours of having the dream, I want you to write it all out. And this is key, write it in the present tense. Not I was standing, but I am standing in the room. The ceiling is cracking. This keeps you right inside the experience. Then you're gonna draw a simple diagram of the room, the leak, who's there, the color of the water, label every single detail. Finally, you answer one single honest question. In my waking life, right now, what does this room represent? And let's be really clear about what this is. This is not just journaling to vent. This is not about analyzing the dream away until it's some neat little concept you can file. No, this is Jungian active imagination. It's a structured dialogue. You're going in, not creating distance. You are engaging with it. And here's the crucial point. If you skip this step, you are literally leaving the most important email you have ever received unopened. And trust me, your unconscious will not wait forever. It will escalate. Now for path 2. This is for the woman who processes things through her body. You don't live in theories, you live in sensation. So you're gonna use your body as your guide. First, find the physical spot in your body where the feeling of the dream lives. Is it your chest, your throat, your stomach? Place your hand there. Just notice it. Don't try to change it. Now you choose a physical ritual but actually mirrors the dream's message. So if the dream tells you something is breaking open, you need to go outside and break something safe and biodegradable, like an egg or a dead branch. If it says something is accumulating, go take a bath and speak your release out loud into the water. And yes, I know, this sounds primitive. That is precisely why it works. See, the unconscious speaks in symbols, not in sentences. You can't argue your way into integration. You have to enact it. You have to do something. Okay, path 3. For the woman in an active crisis. You don't have time for slow, gentle work. Your ceiling isn't just leaking, it is threatening to come down on top of you. This is your triage plan. I need you to write down 3 facts about your current life that mirror this dream. And I mean facts, not interpretations. Like, I have not slept a full night in 2 months, or I have not told my doctor about this symptom. Now you rank them. Which one, if you keep ignoring it, could become irreversible? That's your first move. That's your first call, your first appointment. Not all 3, just the one at the very top of the list. And you move on it within 48 hours. This is not a suggestion. The leaking ceiling, when you're in a crisis, is your psyche telling you that your grace period is over. This is triage. The timeline is non-negotiable. The last 2 paths are for 2 very different women. Let's start with the seeker. You're the woman who already knows, deep down, that this dream is a message from your deeper self. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sit quietly, close your eyes, and deliberately re-enter the dream through visualization. Go back to that room. But this time, you don't run, you don't try to fix anything. You just stand in the center and you look up. You ask the ceiling 2 questions. What are you holding back? And then, what are you trying to give me? Then, you listen. And whatever comes, you don't edit it, you just write it down. Immediately. But, and this is a really crucial caveat, if this practice brings up something overwhelming, you must not continue alone. The gate opened by active imagination is real, and it deserves a real witness. You bring it to a therapist, a spiritual director, a trusted guide. Do not go it alone. All right. Now, for the woman who resists all of this, you're the skeptic. You don't journal, you don't meditate, you don't do rituals, you barely even believe in dreams. Fine, this one's for you. It's called the primal response, and it boils the entire practice down to a single act of honesty spoken aloud to another human being. Because when you strip away all the symbols, the leaking ceiling dream is about one thing, the high cost of pretending. This is the most direct response there is. Find one person you trust, just one, and you say this exact sentence to them. Something in my life is not okay, and I have been pretending it is. That's it. That's the whole practice. You don't have to explain it, you don't have to cry, you don't have to follow up. Just say the sentence. That one simple, primal act of honesty, it costs absolutely nothing, and it changes everything. Which really leaves us with just one question. Your ceiling is already showing you what's real. The only question left is, will you?